Yeah, I really think that the time has come for outside intervention in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That is, anyone who's been surveying what has been taking place in the last few years, previous negotiations, would have to come to the conclusion that the Israelis and the Palestinians, left to their own devices, will not be able to reach any kind of an agreement. And so the time has come for the international community, specifically those countries, the EU, the United States, and the Arab states, who want to see an end to this conflict, to come up with some kind of a new strategy. I do support the French potential proposal, or prospective proposal, to the United Nations Security Council to, I don't want to use the word force, but certainly compel the Israelis and the Palestinians to begin to resume negotiations, provided that these negotiations are not open-ended. There should be specific time limitations, perhaps 18 months to 2 years maximum. That to start the negotiation on the most substantive issue, which is borders, in order to give the Palestinians an opportunity or the sense that they're actually moving towards something. You ought to make sure that there's a commitment. That is, the resolution should basically spell out, that is, if you are committed, demonstrate that commitment. So don't wait until an agreement takes place before you begin some effort to reconcile differences. Public to public relationship, changing public narrative, trying to establish some kind of communication, a dialogue between the academic community and others. All of this is going to be very important to support that kind of a resolution. And also, one other prerequisite in my view is that the resolution should be based on prior certain agreements that took place between the two sides. That is, it has to have some kind of framework, and in particular, the United States ought to be able to support that kind of a framework. And the United States will support it only to the extent that the framework is consistent with the United States position, which is support for two-state solution, ending to the expansion of the settlement, and begin systematic withdrawal, bearing in mind that the Palestinian, certainly the Israeli security, is guaranteed for the foreseeable future. Well, this is the point. Why do we support United Nations security resolutions? One of the main reasons, not only because the two could not get together, that is obvious, but because the way they began the negotiations under the Obama administration auspices were conducted in a manner that was not conducive to really reaching an agreement. To begin with, as I indicated, they started with Israel's security, when in fact you ought to start with borders. If you were to start with borders, you could have resolved 80% of the settlement problem and begin also to discuss simultaneously Israel's national security concerns. So, and the rules of engagement were faulty to begin with. Continuation of attacks against one another while negotiation is still going on. It was clearly demonstrated there's really no commitment on either side to make the necessary concession that is critical in order to reach some kind of an agreement. There was no particular pressure put on either side by the United States to make the kind of concession necessary in order to move the process forward. So these and other reasons precipitated, without question, the failure of these negotiations. And of course, to resume that, you're going to have to come up with a formula whereby every step or every agreement, partial agreement between the various conflicting issues could lead to and support the next conflicting issue and make it possible to resolve it.